In this video, I'm going to take you through my top 10 most likely issues to appear in your ACCA September 2024 examination. My name is James, welcome to my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe so you get access to all of my videos. And if you'd like access as well to my exclusive SBL notes, you can see on the screen, just click the link down in the description of this video and you can have them on your own computer. I'm also delighted to say I'm affiliated and associated with Astranti, and one way that you're going to pass your SBL exam is putting these top issues into practice through mock papers, and you can check out their free syllabus pack. The link is down there below. And for pure transparency, as always, on the channel, if you were to purchase anything through the links down in the description, I'd be entitled to a small commission which goes to supporting the YouTube channel. So thank you very much. Let's get cracking now, and for all the support that you guys give on the channel, likes, commenting, subscribing, leave me any questions you have at the bottom, because the first one I'm coming on to straight away for your points that I know will be on your exam, because the examiner tells us it is on there. And I'm going to bring it down so you can see a couple of areas where it overlaps on here. So to the left hand side, our first area is ethics. Ethics will be on your exam in one way or another. And the way for you to go about that is to know the 5 key codes of ethics for ACCA: integrity, objectivity, professional behaviour, professional competence and due care, and confidentiality. And then the key thing for the SBL exam to make sure you pass is apply it to the scenario and the requirement that could be set. Now, where have we had ethics that have come up in the pre-seen materials? If you look right up at the top near my mouse, they actually say, in BAGO's, I believe it's the values, on there for the values, our ethical code of conduct ensures we maintain our focus and operating to the highest ethical and professional standards. We haven't been given that ethical code of conduct. It could come up on your exam day, or you could actually mention it in an answer. That could be more information that would be very helpful in an ethical situation on there, because there are other points that relate to the drivers and actually having trade unions involved. So again, there's lots of scope for ethics to be tested, and it will be on there in one form or another. So that is area number 1, most likely to come up on your exam to be aware of, ethics on there. Next, as you can see, as I flick through the keynotes on here, because it's going to relate to this next point, number 2, your professional skills marks. And I've got them on the left-hand side now for your notes: analysis, commercial acumen, communication, evaluation, and skepticism. In your exam, there are going to be 80 technical marks and 20 professional skills marks. Do not throw these away. For your notes, the ones that students tend to do the best on are analysis, communication, and evaluation. That involves how you lay out your answer, clear paragraphs, referring to the actual company themselves as BAGO and not it or them. The 2 areas where students really just get 0 or just very low marks on it are commercial acumen and skepticism. But James, what does that mean? How can I pick up on these marks in my exam? Commercial acumen refers to referring to the scenario itself, demonstrating that you understand that it's a Uber-like business model on there with the apps, and referring to the customers, different stakeholder groups. And by applying that, you will gain credit for it on there. Skepticism is challenging. Challenging is the word they love to throw at us in the external examiner's report, that students don't challenge and question what is set in the requirements. So pose questioning responses in your answers to say, hang on a second, is this right? Could they do things differently? And you'll pick up on those skepticism marks as well. So those are the 5 professional skills mark areas, how to attempt them all, with the analysis, communication, evaluation, laying out your work correctly, balancing those pros and cons arguments, and coming to a recommendation from your professional opinion on there. Area number 3, in terms of most likely areas now, we're getting on to theories that you have to be aware of now, coming down to the bottom. And the first theory is pestle. As you go through my notes on here, if you've downloaded them, there are a variety of political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and legal issues that keep arising on there. In terms of the most ones I'd be swaying towards to say which of the letters are most likely to be tested, just look at the risk register down here. We've got technology issues, we've got economic factors, we've got a bit of regulation, But if you come up a bit further on here, again, technology being especially prominent on there. So if I was a betting man, which I'm not, technology and the environment would be my top two to definitely be aware of, along with safety and the social factors that always keep on getting mentioned. So pestle theory on there, and application back to the scenario will mean that you get the marks on there. So that is number 3, pestle. Number 4, I've bunched these together because there's quite a lot of overlap, and I think one of them could come up. This is all about porters, but we've got the different theories now. We've got the 5 forces you can see on the screen, and the 2 on the right-hand side, just in the notes at the bottom, the value chain and the diamond analysis. Now, which one is more likely to be tested? How long is a piece of string? But based on past papers, the Porter's 5 forces is the more commonly tested one. And the 3 areas that I get the feeling from going through this is the sort of competitive rivalry, threat of new entrants on there, and also threat of substitution. Those really sort of stand out, that we've got more information given in the pre-seen notes. But in terms of the value chain analysis, if we just quickly come up to the BAGO staff, we've been given different functions of the staff and the senior leadership structure. So again, something could be thrown up on the exam day to refer back to that value chain to say, how can the inputs and outputs of the business get that little bit better to provide more value on that? Diamond, on the other hand, I mean, just something to be aware of about the sort of demand functions, supporting industries on there. Really, if that was to be tested, it would be the different factor conditions, like changes in the economy, which would have an impact on the actual customer's buying power. So again, it's something that may come up on there. It might not be as likely as the other 2, but hey, I had to get it in the video. I wouldn't be able to sleep tonight if I didn't mention it. So that is number 4, Porter's theories on there for you to be aware of. And that goes without saying. You can see the next one down below. Number 5 on there, SWOT analysis. There is so much scope for SWOT in this pre-seen material, where you can see the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, and they cover all bases. It's a fantastically run business, it's been growing, it's the second largest on there, but the opportunities factor, I think, you've got so much more scope on there to talk about international expansion, potential loyalty schemes, potential market leader on there, and the threats, where you've got potential new multinational companies coming into the market, technology advances, smaller firms taking over. The list goes on and on and on. So check out the full notes, you'll see me where I write SWOT on the side. Those will be factors to consider. And that's why I have it down as number 5 on my list as one of the most likely issues to appear in your exam, the SWOT analysis on there. Number 6, we can keep it on here, and I probably should have made it a bit bigger because it's Ansov's matrix on the right hand side. Another small theory, well, not small actually on there, it's a theory that is, again, tested in the past, not to be overlooked, because students who know the theory, and you can go away, have a look back at your core text to see about the key diagrams on there. But it's really easy in terms of actually how it could be applied, because it's all about growth opportunities. And you've got on here, BAGO is beaming with growth because the market share, as you can see up here, is going up and up and up and up. There it is on the left hand side. It's that little grey line, well, shade of grey line going up and up and up. And Zenby, the dark line, the market leader, is going down and down and down. But what does Ansov's matrix refer to? Well, we're referring to on there the either market products that we have, or markets and products, should I say, and these are either existing markets and new markets, or existing products and new products. And what you got to say to yourself, well, existing markets, currently in Beeland, new markets could go internationally. In terms of products, we've been given the different TNC services, so the existing services, service customer rentals, they have 0% revenue, business services they've just got into. And we've also been given, in terms of new products, we were given these latest developments, food delivery, driverless, electric vehicles. Don't overlook it. It could come up as a sort of wild card on there. I had to put it in the actual video, but you can see on my notes on here, could overlap with SWOT on there as well. Same valid points, but just to be aware of the different theories. That's why Ansov's matrix is my number 6 on there. Number 7 for most likely issues to come up on your exam are the competitors. I think students will overlook this And I'm going to put my mouse on it on here because it really stimulates from the actual market share diagram on here, where you go, Zenbi, the market leader, over time has been dropping off and off and off and off. And the examiner loves it when you quote figures. So Zenbi's at 55% market share, Baygo's at about 30%, total 85%. But it's the 15% other, which has just been growing year on year on year. And you've just got to get a feeling for why has that been happening? And we're told bits on here. So in terms of Baygo, the service customer rentals, they have no revenue on there. So my logic is that the other market share, they've got to be doing something right in Beeland to have that growing market share. And they've got the business services. Baygo only currently have 5% of their revenue. So again, other areas that we could be looking at in terms of, well, why have they actually been growing their market share? Is it from those two areas? And then potentially coming down here, we just briefly touched on it for the latest developments. Maybe they have the first mover advantage going into the sort of Uber Eats model of food delivery, driverless, electric vehicles. Again, these are sort of inklings on here where I'll put my mouse on it just there to the left. There you go, it's flashing blue. Growth of TNC businesses, like that 15%, are on the ability to attract and retain quality drivers. And it's sort of linked into it on there that you go, well, okay, quality drivers on there, how are we looking after our drivers in terms of Baygo? And you come down to the bottom for the KPI, and the driver satisfaction has been dropping year on year on year, and it's about 62% satisfied on there. So again, it's something just to be aware of. And the final point I'll put my mouse on now there where it's flashing blue is to incentivize more drivers to use environmental sustainable vehicles, such as assisting drivers in making contact with those cars. This is where some of the providers are actually giving incentives for drivers to be in those cars on there. Little things just to be aware of that I'd have in my sort of notes going through. Again, just to be on your toes, you just go, oh my gosh, could it come up on there? But that is number 7 for competitors, just looking at the different growth rates, revenue streams, and how they manage the different drivers and other factors within the business, how it operates. Lovely stuff. Number 8 now. Top 10 things most likely to come up, and the examiners will love for you to put this in your answers, are know your pre-seen key figures. There are quoted key figures on here. I'm just going to run through a few of them that if you put these in your answer and they can overlap with a variety of different areas, it's only going to impress the market on there. So this is where, first of all, Beeland, 80% of its population lives and works in the urban areas. Fantastic stuff on there. 200 million population. In terms of Beeland being recognised as the second largest, it's based on revenue and customer numbers. So then you go to yourself, right, where have I seen these customer numbers? Customers registered in Beeland have doubled in the last 8 years. And this is where we're getting up to 25% of the population. You can refer to some of the different user groups on here. Again, fantastic things for you to say. We're at nearly 50 million user groups. That would be my next key figure for you to refer to. We touched on the market share as well. 85% between Zenbi and Baygo altogether. 30% for Baygo. 55% for Zenbi. Again, that'd be another great thing for you to refer to, especially from a growth and strategy perspective. But you can just have a little flick through in terms of registered and active users. We were given that it's going up to 19 million on there. So these are little things that we've been told throughout as we go through. It's predicted to rise to 19 million by the end of 2004. The different revenue streams, quoting the 72%. Micromobility, we're told on there that that actual revenue stream, they're only tapping into a small proportion of it. So again, key figures, apply them in your exam, and the market is going to absolutely love it, especially with the number of cities they're operating in going up from about 225 to 250 on that. So get a little list. I would, if I was in your shoes, get a piece of paper, write down those key figures, and then you'll retain them as well. So that's number 8. Number 9, we've got different stakeholder groups. Stakeholders will be on your exam and you analysing them. So you've got internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. And the key ones for you to be aware of are, what names have we already been given in the pre-seen notes that the marker is going to love for you to apply? Well, the first two are the founders of Ed Foss and Kim Lee, the original founders of Baygo. absolutely paramount that you refer to them if it is tested in a requirement. From their perspective, it could come up in terms of maybe agency theory, as well as they're still shareholders in the business. They've got a small minority share. And then, of course, you've got Bago, the company which we've got the most amount of information on, and also Zenby on there, who is the largest company in the actual country of Beeland, and it is also multinational on there. The other actual stakeholders for you to be aware of, as I'm sure you're aware, we've got the TNC drivers and the customers. Little things to go on to that as well. The customers have their own app and the drivers have their own app. So if there are any issues from a technology point of view, just be clear, you know which stakeholder group you're referring to and the potential technology. And as we come down to the final factors for stakeholder groups, which they love to test in the SBL exam, all about the sort of mission, vision and values, you could refer to those actually directly and quote it in your exam and link it into everything from the local community. We're not given too much about sort of other buyers and suppliers on there, but especially from an environmental point of view, we've been told about the government, environmentalists, and changing the business model to make it more eco-friendly using hybrid and electric cars. So stakeholder groups will be on your exam, and then pick out which group you need to refer to and the details they are looking at. Last but not least, number 10, most likely issues to appear on your exam. I think not a bad shout is the senior leadership team, and in terms of their sort of operation and strategy. So what am I referring to there? Operations or operational decision making, the day-to-day, the week-by-week, cash flow, working capital decisions to keep the business ticking along, which we're not given any risks associated with that. And then also we've got the strategy, the long-term thinking, 3 to 5 years, how to actually maintain being second largest and also pushing to be the largest in Beeland on there. The reason why I say this is we've got the right board dynamics of half of the board being non-executive directors and then the rest of the board being actual chief executive officers, finance officers, technology. But we've not been given any names, we've not been given any sort of roles, and I think there may be something in the unseen information on the exam day that's going to test a student to see, have they seen in the pre-seen notes about the structure, and can they link up that the, say, chief people officer is going to be in charge of an ethical issue, the chief marketing officer is going to be in charge if we have a social media breach or if there's a bad news article written on there. So again, linking it into it, applying it back to the scenario, the key people of influence on there, and relaying that in your answer, referring directly whether it's to Zenby or to Bago, and you're going to see only marks going your way as a result on there. So that gives you number 10 on there, the senior leadership team, operationally and strategically, how the business operates. And that nicely brings us to the end of my top 10 most likely issues to appear in your exam. I do not have a crystal ball. If I did, I would know if Leicester, my team, are going to get relegated this year. Probably going to happen, but I hope that helps, guys. Be sure to subscribe so you get access to all the other videos on the channel, and click the links, as I said, down in the bottom of this video to check out Astranti's packs, and also if you'd like to download my exclusive notes. I've put a couple more SBL videos up on the screen, so I'll see you on the other side for another one now. Thank you very much.